there, today I want to share with you how I made this vintage heart pin. Okay, so before I started, I took some burlap that I bought at a fabric store and I Mod Podged it. I just painted Mod Podge on both, well, it kind of soaked through, but I made sure it was coated really good and I left it dry overnight. And as you can see, this is kind of, it's got a stiffness to it, so it kind of holds up a little bit. It will hold its shape when you bend it or do whatever to it. So then I went in and I picked out a die for my Sizzix die that I wanted to use for the shape, and I decided to go with this heart. And I took the burlap and I cut it out, and what I did was I cut it out twice. I cut it out first and I said, well, this is great. I was worried for using it for a pin, it still may not be the strength that I want, so what I did was I cut it out, and then I took a piece of the board and I just cut the same thing out on the board. So what I decided was I can glue each piece onto each side and give it a front and back cover so you won't see it, but then in between that board will give it the strength that it needs. So then I'm just going to glue all these pieces together to give it the strength. Okay, so since I didn't know a way that I could cover the sides up real good, just in case they would show, I just simply took some of my ink that will match the theme that I'm doing and ran my ink down the side of the cardboard so it would blend in with everything else that I was doing. So you just want to go around the entire outside of your piece if you're using the cardboard in between for the strength, and just, you know, run it across so that you don't see the cardboard color. It just blends in with the rest of the color. And use it in the same color scheme or theme, something close of what you're going to be doing your piece in. And don't worry about if the ink gets onto the edges, it doesn't matter. Okay, so then when I had that all done, I simply took my glue gun, and make sure you put a piece of something down to protect your surface when you're working with your hot glue gun. And I simply just ran some glue. I tried to get close to the edge, but not too close, because as you push this down, it is going to spread the glue out. And just line it up onto your fabric and press it down. And make sure you just smooth it, because you want it to be kind of flat on there. And if you have to, use a brayer or something that you can just kind of roll to make sure that it's smooth and laying flat. And I did the same on the other side. Okay, so I basically have laid out all of the different trims and things that I'm going to be working with, and the easiest thing that I can tell you is that when you're doing this project is to start with your bigger buttons first and just apply some hot glue onto them and just start attaching them where you want them to be and just layering them. I want some to have some dimension, so you want some to stand up. You'll want some to lay down. So just work with, again, what you have, what you feel comfortable with, and just start creating. Okay, another tip I'm going to give you, and I'm sorry this looks really messy as I'm working, but I'm trying to keep it all together so you can see everything that I'm doing. Another tip I'm going to give you is start, you know, really thinking about where you're going to place your pieces. It's important so that you don't, you know, miss your edge, or where you want to, you fill something up and then you can't get a piece in there later that you thought, oh gosh, I wish I would have put that in there. So really start thinking about and start creating where you want to put all your pieces. Okay, and as you can see, all I'm doing, and there's nothing trick about this, that's why I want to turn my camera back on so you can see, I'm just layering as I'm going. I'm just attaching the things that I like. I'm just picking out random size buttons that I think would look good in certain places, and I'm just taking the glue gun, and be careful because when that thing gets hot, it gets hot, believe me, and just putting them on there where I think they look good. Okay, so one more thing I want to share with you as I'm working on this piece is, as I'm doing the beads, I'm finding that it's easier to just cut small pieces. I'm kind of figuring out where I want to lay it, and as I'm figuring out where I want to lay it, I'm just cutting the piece to fit in that whole area. So I'll glue at the bottom there. So I'll show you an example here. I'll figure out if I want a piece to go there. I'll take my bead, I'll place it there, and I usually kind of go one off just so that I can kind of finagle it a little bit and cut it where I feel like. And then I want to put a piece down in there. So I'll just throw some more hot glue down in there. I'll take my beads, I'll wrap it where I want it to go. And then I'll push that piece down in there where that glue was so it adheres. And just, you know, as you're doing that, watch where you're cutting that off. So I want to keep it close in there at the key. So I'm just going in where that strip was and I'm snipping that, because that's where I want that last piece to be. And then I can kind of work with it and push it in there. And then that one that I had hanging off, just again, take your scissors, look where your piece is. Be careful you're not cutting your cardboard, and just snip them off. And that's how I'm actually intertwining the beads into my piece. Okay, so once you have your piece created, the last step would be, of course, and this is all dry. You want to make sure all of this is dry, is to go ahead and take your backing of your pin, and you're going to attach that. Now make sure that you get one that is going to be big enough and strong enough so that when this pin is attached, it's going to hold securely. You don't want it to fall off as you're wearing it. So it's going to go this way. I'm going to place that on there. I'm going to hold that down. And again, make sure that the products that you're using, again, will hold the strength. And that you're using a glue or an adhesive that will uphold the strength of your project. So when I'm done, that is my new little heart pin. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.